This is part 4 of the Chapter 1 lecture notes. Um, we just have 2 slides left that we got cut off on that last part. So let me see here. Okay, so we were on this phylogenetic tree. And this a phylogenetic tree just shows the relationships between groups of organisms. This one says here was by microbiologist Carl Woese using data obtained from sequencing ribosomal RNA genes. And I know we have not talked about what ribosomal RNA is, but RNA is kind of like DNA. It has a genetic code in it. But anyway, it's a chemical that he compared between all of these organisms. These are the 3 domains of living things: bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. These are the 3 large groups that all living things are grouped into. And you may recognize some of the examples of bacteria and eukarya. You probably do not recognize many of the examples of archaea. They're not as commonly known, they're not as well studied. Um, but these are the 3 domains of life. So we divide all living things into one of these groups. And archaea are defined as they're always unicellular and their cells are always prokaryotic. So they're always unicellular prokaryotes, which means that their cells do not have a nucleus. But they're different from bacteria. Bacteria are also unicellular prokaryotes. But bacteria have a plasma membrane and then they have a cell wall outside of that. And the cell wall, which is an extra protection for the bacteria, contains a chemical called peptidoglycan. The archaea lack that chemical. They lack peptidoglycan. A few years back, I don't know how many, but I've been teaching biology for over 20 years now. And I remember teaching biology when the only thing we knew about archaea was that we find archaea in harsh environments, in environments that are very salty, too salty for most organisms to live, or else high temperatures. I mean, way higher than even boiling. Um, Very acidic conditions. We just find we have found archaea in the past in really harsh, extreme environments, but we have now since then found archaea in in the human body, actually, living symbiotically with humans. So there's there's a lot that we don't know still about archaea, but we do know some chemical things make them so much different from the bacteria that they can't be in the same domain. They're just too different. And then the eukarya, all the members of eukarya have eukaryotic cells. So their cells have a nucleus and membrane-bound organelles. And some of the eukarya are unicellular, but most of them are multicellular. We also have 4 kingdoms of living things in the eukarya. You would recognize probably the plant, plantae, animalia, fungi, and protista. The protista contain some unicellular protozoans. We see them swimming in pond water when we look at pond water under a microscope. And the protista also contains algae. So, but the other 3 groups, I'm sure you know examples of plants, animals, and fungi. So those are the 3 domains, and we will, throughout this semester, we'll talk more about them and about different examples from these domains.